Grand Rising. If you've got ADD and you're prone to indulge in substances, then this video is for you. So when you have ADHD, you have a Ferrari brain but bicycle brakes. I heard that someone else say the other day, and I love that analogy. It's pretty spot on, you know? Like, I've run into so many problems back in the day because I wouldn't be able to practice discernment in these times, you know, when you think you're on the right path and when you're enthusiastic about stuff, when you're jumping to certain conclusions. And it would get me into shitty situations, especially with my businesses. I would, you know, get the wrong employee too early, or I would get, you know, bigger partners on than we could handle, and some stuff, you know, stuff like that. But in the end, now in retrospect, it all makes sense, right? Because it was always this internal battle between, okay, my brain wants this, my dopamine is not where it's supposed to be, I'm self-medicating. Put it in simple terms, I need to calm down, I need to be more focused. And yeah, so it went on, you know, for a couple of years, just line here and there, a beer here and there, became a beer on a daily basis, became a line on a daily basis. And yeah, it's pretty much just a time bomb, ticking time bomb that you've got in front of you when you're in one of these states. You know, it doesn't matter if it's cocaine or anything else, right? Amphetamines, or if you're, you know, taking Adderall or Ritalin on a daily basis and you're drinking, you know, with it, or, you know, you're taking any form of upper and any form of downer then at night because you can't sleep, and you think you're sleeping but you're not, you know. That's a heavy conclusion that you have to get to eventually, because you start running into all of these health problems because your body is simply not recovering properly. Your lymphatic system, especially the one in the brain, only opens up if you're in deep sleep, which means if you're not in deep sleep and you don't even have one of these cycles per night, you start accumulating these toxins in your headspace. And you know, that leads to all sorts of crazy shit like Alzheimer's later on and stuff like that, you know. But that's why a lot of people get these types of diseases and, you know, symptoms later on, because they haven't had proper sleep for 30 years, you know, 40 years. And then they're like, all of a sudden, why do I have this? Where does this come from? But yeah, this can be one of the reasons. This can be one of the roots. It's just when the lymphatic system is not functioning properly, then toxins accumulate. And that's not just in the headspace, right? But that's like a specific, you know, thing that I just wanted to mention. And so if you're not recovering properly during your sleep, you know, it doesn't matter what it is, you will run into problems. You know, if it's just like simple fascia issues because your whole balance in terms of hydration is not given, then you will run into like major issues down the line. You know, that's why I think that old injury with my spine came up that I didn't know about in the beginning. It's because of fascia related types of, you know, issues, because there was emotional trauma involved, if you want to call it. There was, there were tough times. I, had an injury on the ankle. I wasn't moving for a couple weeks properly, and plus all the toxins that I kept, pushing in. That all together, and the stress, that all together just, basically pushed me into that major state of just excruciating pain that I could barely handle. Like it was really bad. And as per usual, like if you're having a tough time, your body will, show that it's, or your soul even, will show that it's, screaming for help. And that usually happens with the weakest link in the body. That's where it will show up in the first instance. And it's like a team, basically, right? You're only as good as the weakest team member, and your weak spots will show up with that person, right? It will make or break the company or the team, or in that sense the body too, So with me, that was the weakest link, that old injury that I didn't know about, and it showed up there, and it showed up properly and with full force, and it made me, reevaluate everything from every relationship to my lifestyle to what I was going to do with my life to, everything else, basically, everything that's attached to that. And when you have ADD and ADHD, and you're addicted to, the medication of that, because the medication that you get from the doctors is just not working for you, then it just gets into this very dark place very soon, where you're literally between two worlds. You don't even know where you belong. You don't even know what to do. You don't even know what's the right thing to do anymore. You're in this very dark spot. This dark night of the soul probably happens, right? It just pops up, and it forces you to change or go down with it, right? Those are the only two options that you have in that moment. You can end it, which probably a lot of people do, but I chose not to. And the other way is to fight yourself, through that situation, to fight yourself out of it. And these situations, they just make you stronger. That's one thing. If you're going through this right now, just know that you'll come out stronger on the other end. It all happened for you. Like, all that shit happened for me. It was needed. I needed to wake up, because I was stuck in this vicious cycle of just working on stuff that wasn't even my purpose. It wasn't even of interest to me. Just like monetary goals and building stuff that I'm like actually like really absolutely not interested in, like zero. But it was just what I was doing. It's like the same with a lot of clients and people that I work with, and that I'm focusing on with my work. It's these people stuck in their corporate job. It's the same thing. After a couple years, you realize, shit, what am I doing here? Like, it's not for me. But then you think, okay, I studied all these years, I worked myself up in this company structure. Do I really want to quit now? Now I just started making some money. Do I really want to quit now? It's an interesting spot, because it's not easy to get out of it. But you just have to be brave, and you have to follow your heart, and you have to listen in on your soul. Because if you neglect that calling to do something else, if you neglect that calling to look for your purpose in life, you will get into very deep spots later on in life. I can guarantee you that, because you'll be more and more detached from your soul, be more and more detached from your inner being, and you'll just become this robot even more than you are at this moment in time. And in the end, what are monetary successes? They're all replicable. Like, you can always get back to that spot that you're at right now. You can always make more money. And so just take that leap of faith, just go for it. Just jump. It's the only way. If you want to be happy, if you want to be fulfilled, then go down that route.